What's going on, everybody? This is Al from PlaybookGamer.com, and in the last Dynasty video, we took on Tennessee in the national championship game and ended up winning 35-31. Just a great classic of a ball game. One of the better NCAA championship games I've ever been a part of with this game, and I had a whole lot of fun playing it, and I think it helped. I increased sliders 4 or 5 games ago, and I've had some really good games up until that point, and especially this one. So just a whole lot of fun. I'm very fortunate that we was able to get the win and we got our first national championship under our belt. Now, what I want to do with the remainder of this dynasty is I probably want to win one more, then I may move on to another one because I got a bunch of ideas that I want to try out in another dynasty. But in order to get there, we got to win another title. So we got a lot of work to do ahead of us, and today is the off-season video, and it's always fun to go in to recruit, change some players around with positions. It just never gets old. Now, before we head into the off-season, we need to look at a few things. First of all, let's go to recruiting. First thing we want to look at is the bottom center. We got a total of 60 players coming back. All things being equal, if nobody wants to leave early, transfer out, we will have 60 guys coming back, which means we got 10 spots to fill. Well, we already have 3 commitments. We got a left tackle, a left guard, and a free safety. So that means we technically have 7 spots to fill, and I am not a big fan of over-recruiting. Sometimes I do that. It's not by choice. It's just when recruiting goes well, you just want to get those commitments and deal with it later. But I'm not going to go into this offseason trying to get 25 players. It doesn't make any sense to do so. We got a lot of players coming back. Now, one thing I do need to take into account is the fact that we may have quite a few players leave. We got a bunch of juniors that are eligible for the draft that had really good seasons. So we'll see how all that plays out. But either way, kind of keep in your mind roughly 10 players that are 10 spots that we want to fill. Now, the next thing we want to do is go to our current roster. We're going to look at each position and see who's leaving, who's coming back, and we're going to adjust accordingly. Now, I have already written down some notes, and we're going to go through each position, starting off with quarterback. Now, Justin Gates is a junior. He's been our starter for 3 seasons. Now, he didn't do a whole lot in the passing game because we ran the ball so much. It wasn't more him than anything else. We just had a really good backfield. And I fully expect him to come back because he didn't really put up a ton of numbers. And hopefully he does because, a 92 overall quarterback now heading to the offseason, he may be like 96 or something, 97, which would be great. Now, behind him, we got another pocket passer. I'm really excited about him. Very good chance he is the future quarterback here unless we find somebody crazy maybe this off season. But then we got 2 dual threat guys behind him, so we got 4 bodies more than likely coming back. So I do not expect to recruit a quarterback unless he's the next just Tim Tebow or somebody who could just do a little bit of everything, or just an absolute miracle worker. We'll see if that happens, though. If we can find somebody like that, don't trust me, I will go after him. Now, halfback, Joe Horton. The man, the myth, the legend, he is a junior. I fully expect him to want to go pro early. If he wants to do that, I'm going to let him do so. I don't want to cheat him out of a NFL career, nothing like that. And besides, we got a lot of bodies behind him. But I wanted to show you his stats. He has exactly 4,800 yards rushing in his career. Imagine if he came back and picked up another close to 2,000 yards. Just imagine. Getting close to 7,000 rushing yards in one career is incredible. You have to do that through 4 seasons, and that's possible that he may do so. He may not want to go pro. He may want to come back, which would be pretty interesting to say the least. But I just wanted to point that info out to you. Now, Miranda is a redshirt freshman. He played some this year, but it was very sparingly. I used him more just kind of downhill running because you could tell by his strength, 74. Then he's got, he's 248 pounds, just a load. He may transfer out. It wouldn't shock me if he did. Now, Ty Perro, this is the true freshman. He was our home run threat, mainly because of his speed, so I pretty much called toss only for him just because of that speed. But he had an incredible season, very efficient. Look at that average, 15 yards average. He had 9 touchdowns, over 1,000 yards, just an incredible ball player. If Horton leaves, this will be our number 1 guy more than likely. But look at his overall. He's an 82. Miranda's an 84. And then we got freshmen and a sophomore and a junior behind him that are all pretty close to his overall. We got a lot of bodies in the halfback meeting room. So I don't know what we're going to do here. We're just loaded, but I do know we're not going to recruit any halfbacks. There's no point. We got too many bodies there. So imagine if Horton did come back. Whew. All right, fullback, Tim Ball, one of my favorite players to use. We didn't get to use him a ton. He done his part. He blocked. That's what I really needed him to do. But every now and then, we was able to give him the ball. He got a touchdown on the ground. He was able to get one through the air this season. So when you have such a loaded backfield, it's hard to give him the ball just as much as everybody else. We just had too many bodies, which is a good problem to have. But he's a senior. He's gone. And Cameron Archie looks exactly like Ball. He's got the same speed. He's actually bigger. He's not as strong, but he can catch just as well. He will fit in nicely in Ball's spot. And we got to back up behind Archie. So I'm not going to recruit any fullbacks. There's really no point. Wide receiver, we got a lot of bodies here. We got 8 of them. No, technically that is 9, but we're losing 1, and that's Aaron Riley, the impact wide receiver. He's one of the few impact wide receivers I've had that's been kind of disappointing. Now, the offense did not center around him because we had Horton, but look, he had 7 drops this season and didn't get the ball a ton. He made some big plays. I want to give him some credit, but there were other times where he just didn't show up. It happens sometimes, which I'm kind of glad it does in a game. You don't want this to be like automatic, oh, he's always going to perform great. He just didn't for whatever reason, but he's gone. But we got 8 guys coming back at least. I mean, we may have somebody else, like Malcolm Peterson may want to go pro early. He's been a good slot receiver for us. He is in the line of all the JUCO kids that we picked up at the wide receiver position. We've been putting them in the slot, and they performed for us. So it wouldn't shock me if he left. But then we got, John Redcorn. That's what I'm going to call him going forward. And, I mean, just a lot of bodies here. So I'm not going to recruit any wide receivers unless we find another Randy Moss of some sort. Tight end. This is going to be an interesting position for us next season. Jason Parker. The offense next year is really going to have him getting involved. He's too tall for me not to use him in some capacity. So now that I have the playbook editor, I can create some plays. I'm really excited for next season. I'm going to pretty much create an offense around that current roster, which I'm really excited about. But that's, for a future video. But I'm really excited for him to come back. He's a sophomore. I'm hoping the true freshman Blaine Gay comes back. It wouldn't shock me if he transferred out because I kind of made a mistake here. I probably should have redshirted him. That would give him and Parker a 2-year separation. But he didn't get to do hardly anything. And is that my fault? I guess it is. But we got so many other better players at other positions. There's only so many snaps and balls to give to all these players. So I hope he comes back and I can use both of these guys in a couple of different ways. But in terms of tight end, if one of those guys leaves, I will probably pick up another tight end. Let's talk about the tackle position. Now, we got one guy coming in, and we got one guy leaving. So it's going to work out just fine. We're going to have around 5 guys. So I'm not going to have to do any hard recruiting unless Philip Warren leaves. He's been just an absolute rock for us at right tackle. Very pleased with what he's done. I hope he comes back. Now, this has been the biggest surprise of the entire season. We haven't talked about him much because he plays on the line. But true freshman Steve Lawrence, if you remember, was a 3-star kid. Played excellent for us this year, and this is his spot for the remainder of his career. He's played so well. It looks like he's doing really well in terms of getting experience. His overall keeps going up, and we got bodies behind these guys. So, and the fact that we got another guy coming in, I shouldn't have to do hardly any recruiting at the tackle position. Then you got guard, another similar situation. We got a guard coming in already. We got one guy leaving. And I shouldn't have to do a whole lot of recruiting at this spot. Michael Jackson's coming back at right guard. We will lose Jonathan Terry. Either that new guy coming in is going to be at this spot, or we may find an absolute monster in the offseason. We'll see. Center, we got 2 guys, but one's a freshman and one's a sophomore. Technically, we don't need another one. But I did put down in my notes a 1 if we find a great one. Just for depth purposes, because if you remember going back looking at that depth chart, in terms of needs, we didn't have anything in the orange, which means technically we don't have to recruit anybody else this year, and we're going to be just fine in terms of depth. But either way, I may get another center here. We'll see. Defensive end. Now, this is our technically most talented group in terms of our starters at least. I mean, Joe Buttles and Nichols, a freshman and a sophomore, 92 and 97. Now, one of the best things about jacking up the CPU sliders to 99 is even with all this amazing talent at defensive end, my sack numbers have went down very low. which I guess is now going to be realistic-ish. I mean, they were still pretty realistic numbers last season, but just in terms of having amazing talent here, just because I got a 97 overall defensive end doesn't mean he's just going to dominate with 15 sacks and such. Either way, we got a lot of guys coming back. We're losing one, but we got 4 coming in. I don't think I'll move anybody down this year unless I got a spare linebacker that's not going to play much ever at linebacker, and I can move him down. Defensive tackle, now I did put in my notes here that I may get one guy, and what I may do here, I took a chance on this kid right here, Craig Jenkins, true freshman. I took him because he's humongous, but he is not the strongest of the bunch, and he's not very smart. Of course, that's a freshman thing, so I'm not overly worried about that. But look at his overall, 62. So, I mean, you take a chance, and it probably didn't work out. I don't want to cut him unless I have to, but I may end up getting one more guy. Now, we are going to lose this guy right here, Vince Ogabasi. This guy's been with us since the beginning of the Dynasty. He's been a lot of fun to watch, and if you look at this, he has 5 sacks this season. That's a lot for a defensive tackle. So he's been really great for us. Poland, I hope, comes back. He's been really good. I mean, just our defensive line is incredible. But again, jacking up those sliders, we didn't get a ton of sacks towards the end. So you still need a ton of talent there if you're going to do the way I do it with my sliders. But we got bodies behind them. We got an 85 overall and an 80, but I still may end up getting one more guy. Outside linebacker, Jimmy McCoy, he's a junior. It wouldn't shock me if he wanted to go pro early. We will see here shortly. Thornton is a junior. He may go pro. Like, he didn't get a ton of stats, but I can see McCoy maybe jumping ship. But we got 2 freshmen behind them. We're good here depth-wise. But we are going to lose 2 guys here fairly soon, and we're already going to lose a guy out of the gate, the guy at the very bottom, Travis Nelson. So I may get one more outside linebacker. I can go ahead and write that down. I did not do so earlier. I'm going to go ahead and put a 1 just in case we find a really good one. Middle linebacker, we got 4 guys here. Joey Walker played great for us this season. We redshirted Ronaldo Mason, and he's going to come back. We just got a lot of good bodies here. And we got Steve Williams, a backup. Hopefully he doesn't transfer. I mean, when you don't get to play a whole lot and you're talented, you guys may want to get out of here, but hopefully that doesn't happen. But I did put down in my notes that I may end up getting 1 or 2 more middle linebackers because we got to start thinking about the future. Especially if I don't win a national championship in the next season, you got to think a couple years ahead. So I may get 1 or 2 here in case I got to move one down the defensive end down the road. Cornerback, we're losing 2, but we got a total of 6 guys. So 4 are coming back. Our 2 best guys, Blake Butler and Elton Gunn, are sophomores, so they're not going to leave, obviously. But we're going to lose the 2 guys behind them. But we got some decent bodies here. But in my notes, I put 1. I wouldn't mind getting probably 1 more corner that's an absolute stud. Somebody that looks like this guy right here. That would be great. Then you got free safety. Now, we got 1 guy already coming in. Ashley Brown was a lot of fun to play with this year. He technically can go pro if he wants to. I don't know if he will, but he's very talented, and I hope he does come back. But as you can tell, we got bodies here, so I don't need to recruit that position. Strong safety, same thing. We got 4 guys. One of them is leaving, and that is A. Darko. But Gallagher, he technically could go pro if he wants to. But we got okay bodies, you know, unless a couple of guys leave for one reason or another. I don't think we'll have to recruit at this position. Now, our starting kicker, Joe Sirkin, he's a redshirt junior. We got him coming back next year, and normally the way kicking and punting recruiting works is you can't really get anybody until you have nobody at that position. So it'll be really hard to find a kicker. I'd love to get a kicker and redshirt him, but that's probably not going to happen, but we'll see. Same with punter. We got a junior. Now, the next recruiting class, we'll probably end up having getting 1 of each, but we'll deal with that as the time comes. But hopefully we can find somebody this offseason to look at, and maybe they can bring in, and maybe we can redshirt. Let's talk about school budgets. This is the beginning of the off season, and as you know, we don't have a whole lot of spots to fill. So a lot of this looks pretty close to what I'm probably going to stick with, but I can see somebody wanting to leave early. So what I may end up doing, we got a lot of points. I think I may leave it as is. I think that's what I'm going to do. We're going to, since we got so many guys coming back next year, I think I may keep it at 35, 45, and 20. Now, one thing I'm going to say before we move on is, in terms of recruiting house rules, I found one that I think may be quite interesting that's very simple, that's also pretty effective, but a lot of people wouldn't think about. Now, this was an idea I got from somebody many months ago, but it just came back to me. And that is, normally we will change these recruiting numbers around pretty hard, or the school budgets, I mean. Now, what if you put everything at equal? 34, 33, and 33. I think that's a really simple house rule that could slow down the dynasty. So imagine if I had recruiting up to 60, my next dynasty, I'll go ahead and tell you, is probably going to be with an FCS school. I'm going to bring them up and do a complete hardcore rebuild with a one-star school. Well, what am I going to do those first couple seasons? I'm probably going to do nothing but recruit. But what if I only had recruiting at 34% every single season? That's going to make recruiting tougher. And I'm also going to dump a bunch of points in the discipline that I may not ever have to use later on. So one thing I'm thinking about doing is having an equal school budget recruiting house rule. I think that may be a decent one to use. At least it'll slow down the dynasty, and it makes it a little bit more rewarding instead of me just taking advantage of the school budgets. Like for here, I mean, imagine if I put everything at equal. I do not need 33 points in discipline because I don't get enough guys in trouble. I would need more training this year because I got a bunch of guys coming back. I think it's just an even split, maybe a good idea. Now, I don't want to do it here. I want to do that with a new idea, a new dynasty, that type of thing. But in terms of our situation now, we got so many guys coming back. We'll go ahead and do the training at 45%. And one other thing before we move on with that idea, these particular things are independent of each other. Recruiting, training, and discipline have nothing to do with each other. Now, I know this is called school budgets. They're thinking of it as like a monetary thing. You're spending time and money on recruiting and training and discipline. But I can see how just even all that out would be a pretty cool idea. But that's something I will look into the next dynasty. But for now, we're going to leave our school budget like this. And here we are at players leaving. This is what I was curious about. Now, we got a couple guys I actually wasn't expecting to transfer. Now, Rob Harper was our third string free safety. He wants to go to Georgia. I wonder if he is from Georgia. I'm just out of curiosity. He's from Florida. Either way, I'm going to let him go. We got a lot of bodies there. We got a free safety already coming in, so I'm going to let him do that. Next up, we got TJ Brooks. If I'm not mistaken, he was like our fourth or fifth best halfback. I understand that he wants to leave. He will not play hardly at all next season, even with Horton wanting to go pro, which I'm going to let him do so. So I'm okay with that. That may mean I may pick up maybe one halfback this offseason, but I'm okay with what I'm seeing here. I'm going to let all three of those guys go, and I hope for the best for all three. Now it is time to recruit. Before we look at any prospects, I want to look at the map. Of course, North Carolina is a pipeline. We got Tennessee as one. We still have Georgia and Florida. We got Texas, and probably California is one as well. So nothing has really changed in that department. I've always wanted to get Virginia as a pipeline. We do got one prospect that's committed to us. That's from Virginia. But I'll pretty much stick with these pipeline states, and we'll go from there in terms of recruiting. So the first thing we're going to do is go to interested prospects. As you can imagine, we got a handful of 4- or 5-star kids that are interested in us. I see a big defensive tackle that really wants to come here. But let's go to team overview. And as you can tell, we don't have anything in orange, which means we don't have to bring anybody else in, and we're still going to be okay. Now, we got 13 spots to fill, minus the 3 that have already committed. So technically, it comes down to 10 spots. We got 4 halfbacks, so I think I'm okay with not recruiting any halfbacks. So according to my notes, I got a defensive tackle, a tight end, maybe a center, a kicker or a punter, a middle linebacker or 2, a cornerback, and an outside linebacker. So that's probably what we are going to focus on. So the first thing we want to do is I like to go through position by position and see what we're dealing with. Now, we're at the point to where I don't need to bother with 3-star kids. Now, I shouldn't say that technically because Steve Lawrence, our left tackle, was a 3-star who ended up being just amazing for us. But I'm going to try to keep it pretty simple and go after the best of the best if I can. We're the number 1 program in the country. We should be going after the best players. Now, I still got my one house rule, recruiting rule, and that is I'm still going after high awareness kids. But let's start off with athlete. I'm just going to pay attention to this one right here, Herb Seward. Let's look at him. We are going to scout him, and he is a B. I may leave that as is. He's from Pennsylvania. JUCO. Now, we've had some luck with some JUCO kids at wide receiver and such, but I'm not going to go after him. If his awareness was much higher, I probably would maybe give it a chance, but he lives just a little too far away, so I'm not going to bother. But you notice how many points we have in recruiting. That's what happens when you win a national championship. We only put 35% of our school budget into recruiting, and look how many points I got to spend. Just an absolute ton. So I got a lot of points to fool around with in terms of just scouting. So I can quote unquote waste points on scouting some kids that I may not even want. So I think I may leave it there for him, for Seward. I think I'm not going to bother. Now some of these other kids I would look into, but we just don't have to. I mean, we're at a point where we don't need to go after these 3-star kids. Now, one thing I do like about this one, he's humongous. I guess he's an offensive lineman, maybe. I'm not really sure, but he doesn't fit what we're trying to do. All right, quarterback. We got one quarterback in the entire country that's interested in us at the moment. He's a 1-star kid, local. Good for him that he wants to come here. Now, I'm not going to waste my time there, but it's funny to see that nonetheless. Halfback. This doesn't surprise me. When you run the ball a lot and you run well, you're going to have halfbacks that will be interested in coming to your school. Now, looks like the number 3 halfback in the country, Craig Cobb, 6'2", 182, is interested in us. Now, that is a pipeline. But look at his awareness. We can, A-, just like that. A whole lot better. His bench is a little bit better than what it was. That's a kid we may want to look into. He may be the one halfback that I may want to go after. 4'3", he looks like a Joel Horton in a sense. Maybe not as big. He's tall, but he's not as heavy. Some of these other kids, I mean, again, we don't need a whole lot of great bodies here. I mean, we got a ton of bodies in the room as is. Missouri, Rhode Island, another Texas kid. Look at how big that guy is. 6'2", 233 pounds. But look at all these 4-star kids. I don't know. Tail Seat. I thought it said Terre Haute. Like, I'm going to look at a local kid. Let's just look at this kid, Josh Lott. A B, 4'48". His hands are pretty good. That looks pretty good, but I'm not really excited to put some points on him just yet. Florida's a pipeline. We can look at this guy, B, 4'52". It says he's balanced, but he is DeJuan Alvarez. He's definitely a downhill runner. There was another one I wanted to look at. Is these 2 Texas kids, I guess. 6'3", 196, Ryan Jamison. We can scout him. C+, we're not going to bother. And this kid is a C-, we're not going to bother. So out of all of those, I don't mind taking a chance on Cobbs. I mean, he obviously looks the part. So let's go ahead and we can put a scholarship on him for now. That way we don't have to look him up later. Fullback, I don't really need anybody here. Now, we got a North Carolina kid that may fit our program, but he's got a C+ awareness. And these 3-star kids, I'm not going to bother. And the fact that we really don't need one, there's no point. But I wanted to take a chance on that kid just to see what he looked like. Wide receiver, it's completely understandable. Not one wide receiver is interested in us. We got plenty of bodies there already. Tight end, I want to look at this kid, Eric Kaysen. We're going to look at his awareness, and it's a C+. So I'm not going to bother with him. He's really slow. He can catch okay, but he's really skinny. He doesn't fit what we want. If you're going to get a JUCO tight end, he better be an absolute stud, and unfortunately, this guy is not. Tackle, we're kind of good here. I mean, we can look. We got 4 guys with 1 guy coming in. Now, we got a local product here, Dan Reed, that may be an absolute stud. Like 695, I wish his squat was 755. Again, I got so many points to spare. I mean, I could just scout whoever. It's not going to make a difference. But his awareness is great. But I'm not going to put a scholarship on him. I think we're fine there. Guard, I wouldn't mind finding somebody here. Now, it looks like I'm seeing 3 stars, nothing but. But I want to find somebody who, like, here's a kid out of Tennessee. I want to scout him. I'm looking at his squat and bench. 495, 655. But let's look at this other kid right here. Kid out of Memphis. 6 feet, 334. 695, 490. So this would be the ideal kid. Now, he's got a C+ awareness, so I'm not going to bother. Now, we got a Virginia kid. He's too skinny. 264, I can't do it. So I'm not going to bother with any of those. None of those really impress me, except for maybe this one. But his squat isn't even all that great, so I'm not going to bother. Center. I put down on my notes that I may want to look at one. But this guy's too small. Look at him. 6 feet, 258 pounds. I'm as big as that dude. So I'm not going to bother there. Defensive end. Doesn't shock me that we're going to have a lot of big defensive ends interested in us. Now, you know me. Natural defensive ends normally don't do well. They have to be really special, like Nichols. He was a true defensive end, but he was a 5-star kid that's humongous with the speed and everything. But here's a kid out of California. 4'5'6", 455 on the squat. That's pretty good for a defensive end. I may take a chance on him. But these other ones, I'm just not really going to bother. Like California, Ohio, Missouri, Michigan, Pennsylvania. Now we're getting down to the 3-star kids. The one I wanted to look at was like this. He's a Mississippi kid. Never mind. Yeah, I think I'm okay with that. I think I may put a scholarship on this kid. I don't even have that as... yeah, let's go ahead and do that. We can do that for now. Defensive tackle. I want to get one guy here. If we can find a stud, a monster. If we can't find a humongous individual, like this guy's pretty decent size, we can at least find one that's super strong. So what we're going to do is go to the very top. Steve Vaughn. It's not related to Stevie Ray Vaughan, at least I wouldn't think. But he's not very big, but I bet he's absolutely strong as an ox. But he's up in Michigan. I'm not really going to... I mean, we can scout him. I mean, he looks the part. Looks like he really wants to come here. He may be the one that's like not part of our region that we recruit that I may just take a chance on. I just wish he was a little bit bigger. His discipline isn't very good, but that's all random in general. The rest of these guys are from all over the place. I'm like, here's another Texas kid. We can look at him. 480, 655. He's got a B awareness. So 480, 655, 420, 655. So technically, this guy's going to be a little bit better. And he is in one of our pipelines. So I actually may go after him instead. And he's a little bit bigger. So I actually like him better than the 5-star kid. So let's go ahead and do that. His awareness is good enough. B is usually where I stretch my limit on that. So I'm going to put one on him. Outside linebacker. I do have that. I'd like to get at least one or two guys here. Ohio, California, Florida, and Alabama. Let's go after these two guys. The Florida kid and the California kid. B and a B. So both of them are okay. 446, 620 on the squat, 640. This guy's a little bit stronger, but not as fast. My preference is to probably go after this guy. I like to have a lot of speed. Unfortunately, he's just really small. A lot of these guys look kind of small in a sense. Let's go and take a chance. I'm going to put one on... yeah, let's... Oh, 446. That's so fast for an outside linebacker. Let's just go after him. We'll just do the bare minimum for now. Middle linebacker. I wouldn't mind getting a couple guys here for true middle linebacker and probably one future defensive end. Looking at some of the size here, like look at this JUCO guy, Eddie Reese out of Texas. Let's look at him. I wouldn't mind taking a chance on that guy. Look at 670 on the squat. That's really impressive, and he's smart too. I like his size, so I'm going to go ahead and put one on him. Now, in terms of the pure middle linebacker, I need somebody who's smart and fast. We can Ohio, Michigan, Texas. Look at this Texas kid, 439 A+. This is an ideal kid right here. Caleb Pittman. I'm going to go ahead and put one on him. And that'll probably be it. We got another Ohio kid. I'm not going to bother. No offense to some of these kids up in the Midwest, but it just doesn't fit what we're trying to do. Let's go to cornerback. I have it listed. I wouldn't mind finding one guy. Let's find the guy. I'm looking for somebody super tall. Like here's a kid out of Florida, 6'2". Is he fast and smart? 4.31 and A. Yes, this is pretty good ideal guy for what I'm looking for. I'll go ahead and put one on him. We'll do program prestige. Looks like he's destined to go to Florida State, though, as you can tell, but we'll take a chance on him anyways. Let me look at these other 4 stars. Indiana, Canada, and California. 6 feet, 6'2". I may have to look at one of these 6'1" guys. A Louisiana kid and a Wisconsin kid. So nothing really stands out there from what I'm looking for. I think I may leave it as is, and we'll just go after this one guy. Again, we may not go. We may not get him because I think he's bound for Florida State, but we'll give it a shot. You got to remember, we still got our week 2 stuff to look at. Free safety. I would love to get this kid right here. He looks probably the part. I haven't even looked at his stats yet. He probably is like the ideal free safety, but we don't need him. We got bodies there. We got somebody already coming in, so I'm not going to waste my time there. Strong safety. Dylan Benson, 6'4", 183. I mean, we're kind of okay. We got bodies here. Look at it. We got a good distribution. We got a freshman. We got a sophomore. We got a junior. And that's what I like have it set up as. But it looks like we got some guys who could probably play the position pretty well. But again, we're just kind of fine there. I mean, one thing I want to look at our strong safeties really quick. We got Gallagher. He's going to be our starter next year. He was our starter this year. Gilmore. And we got Daniel Gann. He was that athlete that we picked up. So, again, I just don't think we need to get another strong safety. So, let's just go back. We'll go back to strong safety. And I think I'm done with that position. No kicker. And we got one punter who's interested. He's a local kid. He's not very smart, so I can't take him. And his accuracy just got a little bit less. So, I guess we're not going to get any type of special teams player. So that is it. Look at this. I got 129 points to spend. So what I can do is we're going to go back to current targets. I've got, what, 6, 7 guys here. What I'm going to do is max out as much as I can. So what we're going to do like maybe 24. We're going to do here. I may be able to go, let's do 30 for this guy. We're going to do 24. We're going to do 24. And we'll do 12. We're down to 8. Let's do 8. And we're down to 2. And I really can't do anything else at that point. I could probably, I don't think I can. I think I'm stuck with 2 points, which is fine. I'm okay with that. I'm not going to try to surge to try to find that one spot where I can fill those other 2 points. All right, that is it for the first week. Let's head on to week 2. As expected, we did not get any commitments in week 1. It's super hard to get that unless it's just a perfect scenario. But we're going to head on into week 2, and the first thing we're going to do is go to our current targets. Did anybody leave or commit elsewhere? Looks like that is not the case. Looks like everybody had us go up on their list except for this guy at the very bottom, this cornerback. I think he's the one that wants to go to Florida State. But we'll say everybody went up, which is good. Now we can go ahead and see what we've done with Cam Pratt, the defensive end. Program prestige, good deals. That's a good spot there. Look how many points we got. It's just ridiculous how many points. Imagine if I put that up like to 60% on the school budget. I'd have like 500 points, which would be way too much. Either way, we're going to put 24 on him for now. Let's do 12. We'll come back later. Next up, we got Craig Hobbs, the halfback. We don't know what he likes yet. I'm going to do Coach Prestige. That's probably the next most popular one. Then we got Eric Baker, outside linebacker. Look at that. Program Prestige. And he is a Florida kid. We'll put 16 on him for now. Texas kid, middle linebacker, Caleb Pittman. We'll just do Coach Prestige, the bare minimum. Eddie Reese. We'll do Coach Prestige for him until we figure out what he likes. Jeremy Coleman, Program Prestige. So we got a good chance of getting that kid. And next up, cornerback. This is the kid that I think really wants to go to Florida State. And we don't know what he likes, but we'll do the bare minimum. I'm probably wasting 2 points on this kid, but that's okay. All right, so that was pretty quick going through those guys. Now we got a lot of points to spare, but next up we got week 2. This is where things get really interesting, and this is how you can really change your program around, looking at some of these week 2 guys. And just quickly notice, these are the top players in the country. The number 3, the number 4, the number 6 guys we have a really good chance at, which I think is pretty cool to see that. All right, let's go and to all prospects. That's what we're going to do. So the next thing is we're going to go through each position and find kids that got upset that we didn't recruit them. We're going to start off with athlete, and I will not go below 4-star. For example, here are a couple 4-star athletes that got upset that we didn't go after them. Here's an Illinois kid, and here's a Wisconsin kid. I'm not going to go after either one. I mean, that's... If they were closer or one of our pipeline states, I would bother, but I'm just not going to. I think we're going to be okay without them. Let's go to quarterback. Here's a 4-star kid. Look at, he's out of Michigan. He's humongous, though. He looks, his accuracy is awful. But we really don't need a quarterback. I'm not going to bother. I think we're fine there. Yes, I'm kind of recruiting nationally. I'm going, to California and such. I mean, we can look at him and see. That accuracy just isn't good enough for me. He's got some good speed, but we throw the ball a little too intricately, if that's a word, for him. I don't think he will fit our program. Let's keep going. Here's another 4-star kid. Okay, kid out of Tennessee. This is more like it. Let's scout him. So he is a pocket passer, but he is a little average on the pass accuracy. He can't run either. So I don't know if it's worth going after him. He doesn't have anything special about him. If he could throw, if he was better, accurate, or more accurate, I would probably give him a chance, but I'm not going to, which is unfortunate because I like going after kids out of my own home state, and it's a pipeline state to go with it. And that is it for the 4-star quarterbacks. Now, when it comes to halfbacks, it does not shock me that we're going to find somebody here that got upset that we didn't go after them. Like, here are several 4-star kids, a Louisiana kid, South Carolina. That's pretty close. I wouldn't mind looking at him at least. 441, C+, we can't do it. Again, this is a position that is not a need. Not at all. Here's a California kid, 6'1", 212. And I'm just looking to see if we find somebody really special. I'm not seeing it there. The guy's just not very fast. He looks really strong. 600 on squats, pretty good. I think I'm going to bypass the halfback. We got Pero. We got Miranda. We're fine there. Fullback, I'm not going to bother. We're good there. Wide receiver, unless there's a Randy Moss that just really just looks the part and wants to come here, I'm not going to bother. Now, we're already going through all the 4 stars and a 5-star, and nobody was interested. Tight end, oh, look at that. Just nobody. Not one single person seems interested. But we're okay there. Gay didn't transfer. We got Parker coming back, so that's okay. Let's go on to tackle. Unless we find an absolute behemoth that is just super strong, I'm not going to... Yeah, we're okay there. We got bodies there. Again, we're in such a good position for next season in terms of players coming back. But we'll look at guard. I'm not... here's a 4-star kid out of Tennessee. We can look at him now. He doesn't look very big. 680 on the squat's pretty strong. We got one guy coming in. Do we need to bother? He's really smart. That 680 is pretty good. I just wish he was a little bit bigger. I love this. Elvis out of Tennessee. I feel like I got to recruit him because of that alone. Let's just go ahead and go after him. How about that? Ooh, I don't know. I need to put... No, my bad. I need to take the scholarship off for him. Don't put the scholarship on him until he decides to put you in his top 5. But I do need to write his name down. We'll put Elvis Tyler. Oddly enough, he's the first week 2 player that I am actually halfway interested in. So we'll put his name down. I need to put down his position. That's guard. Okay, let's keep going. We'll go through the 4 stars, and then we'll move on. Looks like not many guards are interested in us. That's just fine. Center. You know, this is the 5-star center, but again, we don't need him. We're fine. We're kind of fine there. We got a guy coming back that's really good for us. He's going to be a sophomore. 3-star, and no, we just don't need him. Let's go to defensive end. Now, look, there's a kid out of Illinois. I'm not really going to bother. I mean, I can. Looks like his awareness isn't all that good. Natural defensive ends, I'm just not a big fan of. Here's a kid out of Dallas, Texas. We can look at him. He's not very fast. I need a little bit of speed there, and his strength is just okay. Like, you're a couple other 4-star kids. Like, look at this guy. This guy is absolutely massive. He's out of New Hampshire. This guy's out of Kansas. We don't have a chance at him, you know, but I want to keep a little bit of recruiting perspective and just really stick to the pipelines if I can, for the most part. Let's just move on. Defensive tackle, I'm looking for somebody who really fit the part. Like, here's a 4-star kid, 6'4", kid, another Michigan kid. Every kid in Michigan wants to come to Duke. And that's it. We're now down to the 3-star kids. Linebacker, outside linebacker. Kid out of Maryland. That's kind of close, to be honest. He's JUCO. B, 448. I think we're okay without him. I want to look at somebody else, and that's kind of it. One thing I may do is look at somebody else just as a backup. We technically don't need anybody, though. That's the thing. We're in such great position, we don't really need a ton of bodies. I think I'll leave it as is. Middle linebacker. Here's a kid out of New York, JUCO. I'm not really going to bother. Florida kid, 6 feet 232. Let's look at him. He's smart. He's pretty fast. I think I may take a chance on him. So I'm just going to write his name down. Mario Thomas. And he is a middle linebacker. He is a pure middle linebacker for me. I don't think I'd ever move him down. We can keep going. Here is another one out of Oklahoma. I've done well with an Oklahoma kid in the past. I mean, we can look at him. I mean, yeah, he looks the part. Now, that guy could be a future defensive end. I like his size. I'll go ahead and put him down. That's okay. Michael Horn. Now, I know some of you are probably thinking, why aren't you going just after anybody and everybody? Again, I got to have a couple of house rules just to keep it kind of realistic. Otherwise, I mean, there's nothing wrong going after anybody and everybody from all over the country, but I want to have some structure to my recruiting. And otherwise, I would be getting nothing but 4- and 5-star kids all the time, and it'd probably get a little too out of hand. We're still in the 5-star group. All right, now it's getting down to the 3s. All right, let's go to corner. Let's see if we can find somebody that really fit the part. This kid right here, Chris Hayes, I wouldn't mind taking a chance on him. He's 6'4", 168. He's smart. I wish he wasn't from Ohio. I wish he was a little bit closer. But he's 6'4". 4.39 is not very fast. Let's keep going. Let's go see if we can find somebody else. Let's look at this corner. 6 feet 168. He's a California kid. I thought California was a pipeline. I guess it is. Maybe that's why it's in white. Maybe it in gray. Look at this one. Oh, 4'2", B, 6 feet. I like his speed. Man, speed goes a long way. His jump is a 41.6. I don't know what that translates to. I'm going to put his name down. I wish he was a little bit taller. I'm not going to bother. I want some height. You can't teach height. This kid, this is who I would look at. Unfortunately, he's not smart at all. He doesn't fit what we're doing. But 6'6". Man, I wish he was smarter. We can keep looking, and now we're down to the 3-star kids. All right, free safety. I'm not going to bother. Strong safety. Look at all these. A ton of strong safeties want to come here. But we don't need them. We got plenty of good bodies there. So let's just move on. Kicker. Not a single kicker's interested. Not a single one. Punter. Is any of them? No. All right. So look, we have 161 points left. What I'm going to do is just go back to current targets, and we're going to max out as best we can. We're going to max out him. We are going to, let me go to the ones that need maxing out first. We'll go here. We will go to this guy. We'll do 45 on him. And that is it. So we're going to go back to the top and fill out the ones that we did not max out. We can do, let's do 24 for him. We may need those points on somebody else. We'll do 24 for him. We'll do 24 for that guy. Now the points are filling up pretty quickly. We'll do 16, and we got another 16 left somewhere. So I guess we can go back something like this. And now we're down to 2 points, and I'm not going to bother trying to put those 2 points somewhere. I think we're going to be okay. All right, let's move on to week 3. Looks like we picked up our first commitment of the offseason. That's Eddie Reese, middle linebacker, JUCO kid, who is probably going to be a future defensive end unless we just don't need anybody there. But that's a good pickup. But being a junior, a JUCO guy, we're either going to redshirt him or he's going to play somewhere immediately. So that's a good pickup there. So let's go back to current targets. Do we have anybody that committed elsewhere? Still nobody. So the 4 or the 8 or 9 guys that we're really trying, we got a chance at them. So let's go back to Cam Pratt. Looks like we're still in good shape for him. We're going to do 24 there. Coach Prestige. Looks like that worked out for the halfback, Craig Cobbs. Then we got plus sign for Baker. Then we got a plus sign for Coach Prestige. This is what happens when you go after 4 and 5-star kids. This is pretty much all they care about is the prestige. Look at that. Coach Prestige is working out for week 2, to say the least. So now we're down to the guys we already got committed. So we are in great shape for a lot of these guys. And to be honest, if this is our entire recruiting class, I would be perfectly happy with it. But one thing we are going to do is we're going to go and check out the 3 guys I listed from week 2. Let's go back to interested prospects. We're going to go straight to guard. First up is Elvis Tyler. There he is. And look at that. Program prestige. We're in his top 5. That's why you do the week 2 stuff. So what we're going to do is recruit him. We're going to go 16 on the program prestige. Next up, we got 2 middle linebackers. So we already got 1 committed, but we're kind of filling 2 positions here. I want to get an outside linebacker, so we need to pay attention to that later on. I may have to move a middle linebacker to outside one day, but technically we don't have to. Thomas and Horn, where are they? Here is Mario Thomas. We don't know what he's like, but we're going to go just coach prestige for now. And the other one is Horn. There he is. 4-star out of Oklahoma. Program prestige. Him and Steve Williams is the other Oklahoma linebacker we picked up. And that is it. So I'm not going to do anything else. We're going to go back to current targets, and we're going to max everybody out. We are done. We're already down to 124 points. We don't have a whole lot of spots to fill anyway, so it doesn't matter. Let's do 45 for him. We're going to do 30 for him. We're going to do 30 for him. Everybody that's got a plus sign, we might as well just max them out. No word on that guy yet. That's the most we could do there, which is fine. And that's the most we could do there is fine. And we can do 30 for him. Now we're down to 19 points. So let me go back to the very top and find the ones that we do not know what they like yet. I think we got this guy. Oops, I want to do that. I may have goofed up there. Didn't really mean to. Let's do that. Let's go. There was one. Yeah, this guy right here, 16. So now we're down to 5 points. I don't think we're going to be able to fill those points anywhere else. We've maxed out everybody at this point. So I'm kind of okay there. And that's it. Yeah, I think we're done with this week. Very quick. Let's head on to the week 4. Looks like we picked up a few more commitments. The cornerback that I really wanted out of Florida, the really tall kid. Excited to see that. We got another middle linebacker, which is good. He could probably play both ways on either a middle linebacker or defensive end down the road. And there is that week 2 kid, the guard, Elvis Tyler. I like what I saw. He's really strong, and we filled another need there. So let's go back to our current target list. We're down to 5 guys. I'm not even going to bother looking at other prospects. The 3 guys that we wrote their names down were already in the fold. So this defensive end looks like he was destined to go to USC. That's fine. We didn't need him. The only other thing I may end up doing is I may say we got 2 other middle linebackers, and we've already got 2 signed up. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to bother. We may have here's what we're going to do. We're probably going to have a couple of these guys maybe go down to outside linebacker at one point. So I'm okay with still going after these. Plus, we're still looking at a couple of defensive ends from those spots. So let's go back to the halfback. He wants to come here. He just can't make up his mind whether to commit or not. Same with this kid. We're going to max out everybody. We're only down to a few guys anyways. Let's do coach style for this guy. How about that? We're going to do 45 for him. And that is it. We can't max out anything else. There's nothing else for us to do. We got 57 points, but we've already filled up pretty much all of our spots at this point. So we're getting to the point where we may end up having to cut players, which I do not like to do. As you can see here, we are 64. That's going to come down to right under 70. So the only other thing I can think of is I may go to athlete and just find... See, now we got 3-star kids. And well, let me look at this... one out of Kentucky. B452. I can't tell what he's good at. I like his size is weird. 6'2", 262. What can he do? I can't tell. I guess he's a linebacker, maybe. I like his speed for whatever he can do. He could be a halfback, could be a fullback. Let's go ahead and take a chance on him. I'm going to at least write his name down. We are going to... I scouted him, so I'm going to leave that as is. So we're just going to write the name. Yusef Ziegler. Okay. And he is an athlete. That's the only one I'm going to bother with. Otherwise, we have maxed out everything. So I'm going to go ahead into the final week, week 5. And there you go. We picked up 4 more commitments. We pretty much went after everybody that we could in the current target list. We got them to commit. Craig Cobbs, big 5-star halfback. He'll just be another one in line. I don't know if we'll ever get to see him play, just depending if we win another title. But it's good to see him in the fold. And you got Eric Baker, outside linebacker. Good. We finally got the outside linebacker I was wanting. Then we got defensive tackle. I wanted one, and there's the guy that I wanted. Jeremy Coleman. And then another middle linebacker, Mike Horn out of Oklahoma. So now we're down to the final week. We still got some... we can do something here. Now we're down to 1 guy, another middle linebacker. But I don't need 7 on the roster and going after another one. So I don't know if it's worth it to bother with this guy. So what I may do is I'm going to take the scholarship off for him. Yes, I could probably get him to commit, but we don't need him. Let's go back to interested prospects. Like, look at this 5-star free safety. Like, he really wants to come, but I'm just not going to... We just don't need him. I want to go back to that athlete. We wrote his name down. There he is. We made us top 5. We may actually get this kid. So let's go ahead and just max out him. How about that? We're going to do coach prestige. We're going to do 30 points, and that's it. I don't need to bother with anybody else. You go back. 57 plus 11 gets you 68 plus another guy we're going after. That gives us 69 guys. I can go after one more guy. I mean, is it worth it? I mean, I guess, we can find somebody maybe. I'm trying to think of a position where we need another body. And this guy honestly fits probably what we're needing. I'm probably too late on this one. But again, we're okay there. I've said that 100 times, but it's the truth. But we'll do a max on him, and that's fine. I think that's enough. All right, let's head on in to the conclusion of recruiting. And what do you know it? The tackle that we barely looked at and gave him little attention up until week 5, he committed. Local kid. He may be a really good tackle for us down the road. He looks the part, that's for sure. And guess what? We picked up that little athlete. I always like taking chances on an athlete. You just never know what they may be able to do. So it ended up being a great recruiting class for us. Look at this. 57 and 13. We got exactly up to 70, which means I don't have to cut anybody, which I do not like to cut. I like to keep that kind of realistic, but I kind of understand in certain situations. When you got a really terrible team and you need to over-recruit, I get that. But for our situation, we don't have to bother. So let's look at our signings. Let's do that first, just quickly going through. Here's the little 3-star athlete out of Kentucky. Then you got the big 5-star halfback, Craig Cobbs. Then you have Two tackles. We got Sergey Long in the regular season, and we got Dan Reed in the offseason. Really good pickups. Looks like they're the two of the top tackles in the entire country. Good job, Al. And guard. We picked up a couple guys here, 4-star kids. Let's go to defensive tackle. This guy, I'm really excited about him. He's going to redshirt. We'll probably never see him play, but that's okay. Then you got outside linebacker. Number 1 outside linebacker in the country. Middle linebacker. 3 of them, 4-star kids. This guy will probably be a defensive end down the road. This guy could be. This guy definitely may be. He's humongous. But I'm excited for all 3 of them. Then you got cornerback. 6'2", 175. He fit what I wanted. He's really fast. He's tall. Good pickup there. Free safety. This is a guy we picked up in the regular season. Local product. Apparently, he's the number 1 free safety in the country, but that's not technically correct because he's a 4-star, and we saw some 5-star kids just recently. Then you got, that is it. There was a total of, 13 of them, I think is what it was. So let's go to top classes. Texas A&M, Michigan, USC, Texas. Now, you notice all of these guys or teams picked up 25 players or close to it. But we may be in here somewhere that's not, we finished 14th. For only going after 13 guys, that's pretty good, if I do say so myself. The rest of that, we don't have to see. So I think we're ready to move on to the next phase. Now let's look at position changes. Now, it wouldn't shock me that we won't have to change anybody around. We're kind of set in a lot of places, but we got that athlete we're going to look at here in a minute. But at quarterback, we don't have to make any changes. Halfback, we don't. Now, this is our first look at some freshmen. The 5-star kid ended up only being a 76 overall. Not the fastest. He's definitely not the strongest, but that's still an okay pickup. He'll redshirt. Fullback, we don't have to make any changes. Wide receiver, we don't. We got a ton of bodies here. Then you got tight end. We are in good position here. Now, we don't have to move anybody. Tackle, I just want to make sure we got a right tackle, left tackle. Then we got, here are the 2 freshmen, Dan Reed and Sergey Long. Those look pretty good, but we'll redshirt both of those. Everything looks solid there. Then you got guard. We did pick up, 2 freshmen here. Look at this guy. Elvis Tyler, not a bad pickup, eh? He's going to be our starting left guard more than likely. I'm going to have him set up like that. I think I'm okay with the rest of that. The other freshman we picked up is this kid right here in the regular season. He's at a 74 overall. But we don't have to move anybody around. I like what I'm seeing. Center, we got 2 guys here. Now, one thing I could do is move another person to center. But I think we're okay there. If for whatever reason you have bad issues at center, you can move a guard to center. And there's a bit of a drop-off, but it's not a ton. But I'm okay with keeping everything as is. Because we're fine here. Unless Simpson goes down, then we may can look into it later. Defensive end, we're going to move somebody over. I'd like to have more than 4. Buttles and Nichols, right end, left end. I like that setup. Then you got Banks, and we're going to put this guy at left. We're going to do something like that. Defensive tackle, we can look at the true freshman, Jeremy Coleman. That was a good pickup at 74. He'll redshirt. But that's a good setup there. Now we got a right outside linebacker. Look at Jimmy McCoy's coming back. I'm amazed that he did. Thornton, we're okay there. Brown, this true freshman, 78. I like what I'm seeing here. We're in just a great shape at this unit in general. Middle linebacker, we're going to move somebody down here. We're not going to move anybody that we just picked up. For example, we picked up a few guys. We go to this freshman, Mike Horn, 80. Caleb Pittman, 80. Good pickups. Look at this kid. 88 speed at middle linebacker. That's incredible. That's an ideal middle linebacker. If you can find somebody that fast, and that's just really cool to see. Unfortunately, we probably never get to see him play, but that's all right. Then we got Harris, a redshirt junior, 5'10", 225. I will probably not move anybody down. Again, don't move anybody you just picked up. You got to wait one more year. I mean, I could move down Mason, but he's not the biggest. I don't want to move down Walker. He's our go-to middle linebacker. We just don't need him there. We got bodies in good positions, but I'm going to redshirt a bunch of these guys. So we're going to leave all that pretty much as is. Corner. Now, one thing you could do, I'll go back and say this. This kid right here, either one of these guys, this guy right here could be like a really good outside linebacker if you wanted to. Like, I can move him there. It's a bit of a downturn. It goes from 76 to 72. But we got bodies there. Again, I've said it a million times, but we're just in good shape. Corner. Don't have to move anybody around. Now, I do want to check out that freshman we picked up. 80 overall. That was a good pickup for us. Not bad. Free safety, we got 3 guys there. We don't have to do anything. We got the true freshman, David Roberts, 78 overall. That's a good pickup. Then you got, I wish he was a little bit faster, but that's okay. Strong safety, we're okay there. We got 3. We got a kicker and we got a punter. And here's the athlete. I'm curious to see where this guy's going to go. Let's just look. 72 at halfback, 70 at fullback, 74 at tight end. Now, he has, let's look at his speed. 82 speed, can he catch at all? No, he can't. He would be a blocking tight end. So I may have him play fullback instead, but let's keep going. 52, he can't play on the offensive line. Look at the defensive end. He could probably play there. With his speed and his strength, what's his strength, at 80? He may be playing some defensive end for us. I think that's where we'll put him. That's incredible. 80 at defensive tackle. Now, he's too small to play defensive tackle. He can play some outside linebacker. Now, he's not very fast. Well, I mean, 82 speed is pretty fast enough. Imagine that guy playing outside linebacker. Gee whiz. Let's go back. We'll go to middle linebacker at 70. Look at the discrepancy between an outside linebacker and middle linebacker. Then you got corner, free safety. No, he can't do hardly any of that. I will probably put him at defensive end. I think that's a good spot for him. We'll go and put him at left end for now. Let's go right here, and we could put him at left end. That's okay. Look at that. I mean, he could be right there, and he can, sub in, do all that good stuff. But an 88 overall true freshman, that's not bad, so you got to take advantage of it. So we'll put him at left end, but he'll probably redshirt because we got bodies ahead of him. So that's a good place to put him there. So now let's move on to the next phase. So as you know, we put a ton of points into training, and this is what happens. A lot of guys go up 6 and 4 and so on and so forth. But you look at the quarterbacks. We had Gates go up 4. He's a 96 overall now, which is great. We got a 90, a backup at 90 overall. Just some really good talent across the board there. Then you go to halfback. I'm going to sort this by overall. Miranda went up 4. Perro went up 5. Look at Hill. We got 3 guys that all look about the same in terms of their overall. Just a really good situation. Fullback, really good. I mean, everybody just went up. That's why I kept going back and talking about doing that school budget house rule. Just putting everything at 33, and it all kind of just evens out. I think I may do that in future dynasties. We'll see. But you see right here at wide receiver 3 and 4 and 4. It looks like Culberson went up 6. Good to see that. He's a future slot receiver for us. You look at tight end. Parker went up 4. Gay went up 5. I mean, look at this talent we got. Incredible. Then you got tackle. Lawrence went up 4. 4 and 6. Look at our centers. Look, we got a 91 overall sophomore at center. Right guard at 86. Then you got right tackle. Warren went up 6. Again, training. That's what happened. I mean, 45 percentage points put in the training gives you something like that. Just, I mean, really high. Defensive ends went up 4. Defensive tackle. Look at this kid right here. Good for that true freshman. He's not very good. He'll probably never play. But he went up 6. Now he's at 68, so he's not dreadful. Now he's just awful. No offense to him. Linebacker, an outside linebacker. I mean, we got 86. Just talent everywhere. Joey Walker went up 5. 94 overall middle linebacker. And you got right outside linebacker. He went up. McCoy went up 6. He's at 97 overall. I mean, we got the Chicago Bears out there from 85. You got cornerback, 4s, and just free safety. We got 2 guys in the 90s. That's what a ton of training will dump in, you could do with that. Strong safety. Just really good players all around. We are just in amazing shape to try to get another national championship. So let's move on to the next phase. Here is cutting players. We don't have to do anything. As you can tell, it's 70 overall players, so we don't have to cut anybody, which I don't want to. But look at all these guys we got in the 90s. Isn't that just ridiculous? That's what happens when you recruit well over 4 or 5 seasons. But either way, we don't have to cut anybody. Yay. Okay, on to the next phase. Okay, we are near the end. We are going to look at our roster one last time, see what our new group is going to look like, and we're going to look at some jersey numbers for some of these freshmen. Now, as you can tell, this is the entire roster as a whole, and we just got a lot of amazing players. Our defense, I mean, we got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We got 8, 9. We got 9 defensive players that are 90 and above, and every one of those are pretty much starters. As about as good as a defensive group as I've ever seen, or at least I've ever put together. Let's start off with quarterback. Justin Gates is an impact player. I kind of expected this. So what we're going to do is, my next offense, I'm going to create some stuff that's tailored for our current personnel. And I'm really excited to dive into a lot of that. But having an impact quarterback, it sways some things in terms of we're going to make sure we're going to get him involved in the passing game. He's going to get plenty of throws under his belt by the end of the season. Now we can go to halfback. We don't have any impact guys here, so that means we can be more balanced. We can focus on the passing game just a little bit more. But we're going to have Miranda, Perro, and Hill. We're going to have another three-headed monster back there. You look at, first of all, let's go to Cobbs. Let's see what his number is. 38. Odd number for a fullback or a halfback. Let's see if we can give him something a little bit more, something that makes a little bit more sense. Let's go to player info. 8. Let's give him either 5 or 11. Is either one of those available? 11. Let's go to 11 because 3 plus 8 is 11. How about that? Again, we may never see him, but that's either way. I wanted to change that number. Then you got fullback. I mean, we're going to throw in a couple of 21 personnel looks. Make sure those guys get on the field. At least Archie. I'll make sure to create a couple plays for him, especially like around the red zone and such. Wide receiver. No impact guys here, but we do have some bodies. Plenty of them, as you can tell. Tight end. Jason Parker. You better believe it. We're going to get Justin Gates' massive throwing arm. He's got amazing power. We're going to use that to go deep with this guy quite a bit. When you got a 6'10 tight end, I got to use him a whole lot better, go over the top, and do some really quick stuff with him because he's not the fastest guy. So we're going to give him some really quick routes, either very deep or something really quick. But make sure, you better believe it, he will going to get the ball quite a bit next season. Let's look at the offensive line, 91 and 88. Now, one thing I'm still not doing, I'm not paying attention to the numbers. I think we didn't recruit anybody here. We did pick up a couple freshmen here, 77 and 76 for these two tackles. Guard, we did pick up a couple here, 65 for Elvis Tyler. And Robert Madison got 60. Then we got at center. Our biggest weakness on offense may be our left guard. Who are we going to play, the freshman or this redshirt junior? I'll figure that out in the next video. Then you got center. We didn't have to get anybody new there. Defensive end. The Ziegler kid, 93. That guy's going to be incredible. An 88 overall true freshman. That was a pretty nice find, to say the least. But we are in great shape there. Look at all this talent. Gee whiz. Let's go to defensive tackle. We did pick up one guy, Jeremy Coleman. He is a 94. Then we got our outside linebacker. Did we pick up one guy? Yes, Eric Baker at 47, which I'm fine with. Then you got middle linebacker. We picked up several guys here. We got Mike Horn at 51, 55 for Caleb Pittman, which is a great middle linebacker number. Then you got Eddie Reese. He was a JUCO kid at 30. We did pick up somebody else, I think. I just don't remember who it was. But either way, a nice group. Then you got corners. We did pick up one guy, Marcus Collins, number 20. That's a good number there. Then you got free safety. We did, yes, David Roberts. He's 29. He took Horton's spot. I'm going to take 29 off of him. Horton needs his number retired pretty much. Let's give him 28. How about that? I think going forward, nobody will ever wear 29 in this dynasty again. Let's go to strong safety. We didn't get anybody new here, but we're in great shape there. Kicker, we didn't do anything there. And punter, we didn't do anything there. All right, that is it for off-season. That was a lot of fun. We didn't have to do a whole lot. I mean, we didn't have a whole lot of spots to fill. But we are all trying to set everything up for one more big run for a national championship. Hopefully we can get that done so I can move on to do some other things. But I want to at least try to get 2 titles out of this dynasty, and hopefully we can do that with this group. If we can't do it with this group, I don't know what we can do. But our schedule is still going to be really strong, but it should be very interesting, and I can't wait to get into it. All right, guys. I'll talk to you later.